Hey guys, it's Simon here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, today we're going to be looking at Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong, number 4. Same art team as before. No changes as far as I can tell. And this seems to be cover A, the main cover. And I quite like it. I think it's very good. I really enjoy how this looks. It perfectly mentions what happens in this issue, which is great. I usually don't like it, how covers don't really illustrate what the heck is going on in the book. So I really appreciate that. Like, it is, not exactly correct, but actually it basically is correct. Everything that you see on the cover is happening inside the book in some form or fashion. So I like that. So basically we're halfway through the story. It's time to regroup, reassess, and, develop our game plan for what's going on next. However, before that can happen, some issues have to arise, right? So, Clark is put in a solar array thingy. I'm guessing it's some sort of thing to help him with his Kryptonian sleeping or healing coma thing. The JLA are talking basically about the fact that, it's rough and it might be possible that, Kal-El, Clark Kent, does not survive this, and there's a problem with this, right? Like, this is a horrible situation, but they have to do the best that they can now that he's gone. Bruce is mad at him again, or sorry, not mad at him, mad at the team again, continuing on from last issue, because he's upset that they don't believe that Clark is going to come back. Like, they're not believing in the hope that he represents, and he's pretty upset about it. I think this is really great. I really like this characterization a lot. We're back on Skull Island. Supergirl is staring down King Kong. She manages to leave, and King Kong is now siding with the superheroes to an extent, and Oliver has to fight the League of Assassins, who ended up on the island. And because Kong is trying to help him, but also because Kong is so big, Oliver ends up kind of being forced to jump onto the League of Assassins boat. And I'm guessing that this means that he's eventually going to end up somewhere else. So that's good. Lois is brought to the Watchtower, which is, a giant satellite thing in space. And she has to talk to Clark through his solar array thingy. Basically just like, I know you were going to ask me to marry you. I need you to come back for me so that, we can make that happen. And I think it was a sweet moment. It was really good. It was kind of slightly funny as well, or maybe kind of somber, maybe, that while she's doing this, a bunch of JLA members or JL members are looking in on what's happening, and they're like, oh, this is kind of like a private moment. We shouldn't have done this, but they're clearly interested in what's going on. So I like that. I think it's enjoyable to have that kind of situation happening, because it humanizes the characters a bit, and it also makes it adding awkwardness kind of cuts the tension a bit. So I like it. I think it was good to do that. And then she gets mad, and she decides to get all the information she can on Lex Luthor. I'm not really sure how she tied Lex Luthor to this. I can't remember him being involved at the beginning. I guess he is. I don't remember how Lex Luthor ties into the story, besides the fact that, he found the Mecha Godzilla thing. But she gets mad, and she's looking for information on Lex. So good for her. We're back to the bad guys. They're all together. They get some information on where Toyman is. And then they have like a little bit of a kerfuffle about who's in charge. And it works, but it's ultimately kind of unnecessary. It's just kind of there because you would expect it to be there. And I feel like maybe it wasn't necessary to waste pages on it, right? But it is what it is. There was a nice spread of all the characters, so I like that. Then we get to see Lex going to get the technology out of Mechagodzilla's eyeball. And then the real problem starts, which is Aquaman calls for help. He needs everyone that can be underwater to go and do so, because there's a Titan in the ocean, and it's going to destroy Atlantis. And this is really, really bad, because I'm guessing in this continuity, Atlantis is the last bastion of the Atlantean people, and so they need to protect it at all costs, right? And well, it's not going great. Even with the help from all the other JL members, it's really hard to fight this giant monster in the ocean, because everyone's kind of hampered, right? And so Godzilla shows up eventually to fight the monster, but because Godzilla isn't really taking care to not destroy things, Arthur decides that he needs to bring some extra firepower to this fight, and so he releases the Kraken. He doesn't get to say the line, but I think it works to have Hal kind of poke fun at it. So overall, really enjoyed this issue, especially near the end. I thought that, adding a third monster to the mix is fun. It's interesting. It's also curious because how is this non-Titan monster going to match up against the Titans? I think it's kind of cool to see where that goes. Hopefully it doesn't get ignored in the next issue. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, good issue here. I'm generally really enjoying this. Like, it's not by any means a great story. It is a pretty serviceable story, though. It's like enjoyable. I would prefer the price to be lower, but at the same time, this is like exactly the type of series that can't go to a lower price because they have to satisfy two different groups of people, like as in two different owners of IP. And also, I don't think that there's that many people that are going to buy this as it's releasing in singles. They might buy it once it's all out on a trade, but I think they're trying to maximize their profits, and like ultimately that is the goal of any company, so it's fair. But also, like, if it was cheaper, it would be so much better, right? So we'll see how that kind of pans out. But so far, I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm going to continue buying it. There's only 3 issues left, so to me, it doesn't feel like that much of a sink of money anymore, at least. But overall, I do find it to be a little bit expensive, right? So yeah, there you go. Those are my thoughts on JL versus Godzilla versus Kong number 4. See you guys next time.